these keyway parts. So this is the one from the MC2, and this is the one from the EF with a slightly different keyway. And one thing you can notice, if you stand them up like that, you won't be able to get them the wrong way around because they've got this little notch in the top. Anyway, I was thinking the best way of doing this is actually like so. You can actually pull this whole mechanism out. Hard to do it with one hand, but if you just push on the bottom here, you can just basically pluck the whole thing out. There you go. And then do the same to this one. Do the same one to that. I'll do the same one to that and then just put it over. Keyway, MC2 switch gear, and I'll just put that in canister. I spent ages just tidying up because it got a right mess. Still have this old D16A9 or ZC or whatever you want to call it engine. Need to flog that. But yeah, so looking better in here, if not great. I wanted to check the fuel gauge ascender unit, so I've got on continuity here. If I just go in the back here, there, on the left pin, see how that's grounded. The next pin, nothing. The last pin, nothing. So it means the left pin is the one which goes to the ground, or goes to this fuel tank. And the other two, one might be supplying voltage and one might be just the actual sensor. And then come in here, apologise, it's a bit dark, but what we have here, we've got one pin here, and that is, again, goes to the actual tank, and presumably goes to the ground as well, so it's grounded. And then the other one obviously doesn't. I'm not going to do it with one hand, but it doesn't. So we know the one on the left pin goes to that, and then the other will need to be to the one of the other two wires. So we'll see which one that is. Investigation. The middle pin seems to be the one which is supplying the signal back to the gauge, and the black wire, or the this pin here on the left, it seems to be the one that's grounded. So here I'm going to put the middle pin to this one at the top, and the grounded to the on the bottom. So there we go. And what I've done here is, rather than resolder everything, I'm just pulling this black toe out of this white toe out here, and then I'm just going to push these back. Get the fuel gauge in the dash clocks, and basically this is the sender unit from the MC2 VTI. It's just on there some little nuts. I think they are, let's have a look, they came off for this, 8mm. Okay, and then you can just take that out. Why am I always doing these things with one hand? There we go. It's a funny little unit. Got some wire down to it, but it's the main thing is it's a 3-plug, 3-pin unit, as opposed to the one on the EF is 2-pin. And to figure out how this works, so first of all I'm going to plug it into the wire and move it around and see if it works, and the fuel gauge goes up and down. It floats essentially, and you can see that the gauge is going up and up and up. Seems to take quite a lot of time, but it's still going up. And if I let the thing down, I've used all my fuel, it should come down, which it is. So that's how it's working. I don't know what this bit is actually. If anyone knows, let me know. But I think this is all I need for it to work. So I'm just going to see what my which pins that goes to, and then see if I can have a look at the one that's there. So I think this is some kind of, oh, you've absolutely got no fuel sensor thing going on here. I don't know what it is, but either way, that's the yellow wire goes to that, and the red wire goes to this device. That means you're gauging fuel or not gauging fuel. So I think that's the only one that actually needs to be in there. So as long as I can somehow have a look at mine. See, I think I've only got a similar system in my car, but you see here, this now is showing that I've got half tank fuel, but I've also got the low fuel level off and on, and then the light goes out. I don't really know what it is. Either way, I'm going to see if I can connect the red wire, and the other one goes to ground. So presuming there's that red wire is the only thing that controls the actual float level, and then the other one I think just goes to the earth, so I can just continue to check the last pin and see if I connect it up. Check my theory by taking this bit of plastic out the connector, get rid of this one which is actually green with a red stripe, which goes to the yellow part of this. Plug it back in and see if I can still get a reading on the gauge. Well, it's going up, so I think those are the only two pins I need. I just need to hope that's all there is to it. So I'll connect these pins down into here and see if I can get a reading off the thing. Just checking which one's which. Going to shove this probe on that pin, this onto my ground. So this pin is the black wire onto this probe, and this other pin here is the green cable, green and black. So I'm just going to put both those on there, see if I can see anything on my gauge. Good news is I'm showing some fuel, not a lot, but then again it's only reacting very slowly, kind of creeping up. But if you look here, this is my setup. So green and black on that connector, and then the black one there. And all I've got to do is, because this all is a bit of a lash up at the moment, all I've got to do is change the connector on wherever it is, on the actual wiring loom here. So the EF wiring loom. All I've got to do is rewire the connector in there, so I know which wire needs to go where. I'll just cut off the old 4-pin connector and wire it in so that it matches this. So yeah, a good success, and at least now I'm showing some fuel, if only a little bit. At least I won't run out somewhere. There was a question before about where all the plugs went, so may as well go through that quick. Just particularly because some of the plugs can fit on multiple connectors at once. So I'll give you an example of that. The ones that look like this, the 2-pin ones that look like that, there's about 3 sensors that can have the same connector at least. Actually it could be even more than that. Anyway, here's the injectors. The injector wires come on from here, and it goes 4, 3, 2, 1 onto the injectors, and then this is the signal I've been having problems with, the intake air temp sensor. This is the connector. I don't even know what it is because it's not from this engine, I don't think. We have, this is the map, then we have throttle position at the back, we have idle air control valve, and we have the more obvious ones around the side here. So obviously we've got the dizzy connection, we've got the connection to the chassis loom, at least the right hand side as you sit in the car. We have single wire VTEC, we have, and this is another one that uses the same type of tube-in connector. So we have here the we've got the coolant temperature sensor and the coolant temperature sender here, which is this little push fit one here. So I can just go around. I'm going to take all of this off Here we've got the vehicle speed sensor, and then underneath here, it'll be hard to see this, you'll have a knock sensor down the back, which is one of those 2-pin jobs, and then the 4-pin one here, which is for the lambda sensor, the narrowband lambda and exhaust, and then we have the connections, 3-pin connection for the alternator, and then the terminal. We've got wires going in to the actual chassis loom. They should usually be up here, but they're in there, so that goes in that way. What else do we have? Connector from the starter motor. So we've got the little spade connector down there, and also the eyelet. And we have the connector here for the reverse light switch, and that is pretty much it. So it's quite simple, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to label up the points, take it out, and I'll show you the whole thing labelled up, just so that if you have the same type of loom, you're going to know which sensor is where. Also, there's a switch down here I didn't mention, and that is here. So this is the radiator fan switch. Okay, so if you just bridge that connector, again it's on that single, the 2-pin, the same 2-pin connector as the other ones. If you bridge that, the fan will come on automatically, and then, as I said before, you have this in here, which is coolant temperature sensor, and the one next to which is the sender, and the sender is the one that sends that signal to the dash clocks. So yeah, it's funny, this car, because it seems to have 3 things doing similar things, but they are all individual from each other. So this is what controls where the fan comes on, so radiator fan switch, the coolant temperature sender, which is what the gauge will tell you on your dash clocks, and you've got the coolant temperature sensor, which is what the ECU will use to know the temperature of the engine. So that's of, I guess, things like cat light off and things like that. So they're all, it's weird because they're all sensing the temperature of the coolant, but they all have different functions. So I just wanted to go through that quick. So 2 more around the back, it's hard to see, but one is the knock, which looks like that, and another one which is again hard to see, is the oil pressure switch. It's this one, looks like that, oil pressure switch. So I was saying before, these are the wires to disconnect. The 2 plugs to disconnect from that side, right hand side you sit in the vehicle. Inside the car, you're taking out this. So this is the 12 volt that comes into the fuse box, which is usually in the engine bay, and then these 3 connectors away from the chassis loom. Intake air temperature sensor, the white one, it's the new one, so I'll put the new one in, see if it starts up. New intake air temp sensor, let's give it a go. Don't say you're not tempted. No warnings, which is the first time this has ever not had any warnings. Yes, 300 ECU, you can see that I've got basically an intake air temperature of 1.67 degrees, which is unfortunately the temperature here at the moment. So it is looking like there's no trouble codes. It's looking like it should. Start basically. Just going to see if I'm missing anything. I'm in the garage again. The car's not starting at the moment. Well, it sounds like it wants to, but it's not really starting. So I've done a couple of intermediary things. So one, I've taken the dizzy cap off and got rid of some white deposit build-up kind of thing. on the contacts in there. The other thing I'm going to do is put some new spark plugs in. It's not going to hurt. These are Denso spark plugs. You see the part number there. And I'm going to swap out the other ones I've got in there because they've been there a while and kind of been soaked in fuel a lot because it's running so rich. So try some new spark plugs and we'll see if we can get things started. This is the old one coming out, and you can see it's kind of, well, very black. It's running rich for a long time because the engine wasn't running right, and this is the brand new Denso Iridium one. The issue I'm talking about, see in here, I'll zoom right in, see that white build up, that's on all of them. That basically stops your rotor arm and the connection between that and the H2 lead from getting good connection. It's high resistance, it's going to be lower output to the spark plug. And what you can do is you can come in here with a flat bladed screwdriver. There might be other methods. You could probably use fine sandpaper. I just do this, and hard to do with one hand. You just basically scrape it off like that, and I'm going to scrape it off and show you the difference. So if you flick like this, and then you'll blow that out. You see it looks, well, you can see it's a silvery colour now. And the other one here, which hasn't been done, this is white build up. And that's going to happen more to cars like mine, which sit around for a week on end, 2 weeks on end without me running it. You've got to watch out for that. So you can just come in there with a flathead and resolve that. Spark plugs in. Cleaned up the Dizzy. Let's give her a start. Fuel pump. Sounds positive. There we go. Then connected. I'm running, guys, I'm running. That. Go to this. We're all good. Right, so the whole car runs. Now I just want to have a look at the air-fuel ratio. So the sensor's already in. It's just a matter of connecting this back up. It's got its own little harness. It's really just positive and negative. And I like the idea, especially because where I'm going to put it, to use the stereo harness for it. So I'm going to basically cut a lot of this stuff off. I've got another harness anyway if I really care, but I'm going to cut all this off and just keep positive and negative, and wire the positive and negative up to my bit there. I think that'll be the easiest way of connecting it, just to check, and that way if I don't know, all my gauges go out, then I can just check the fuse for the stereo. That's the best way about it. So I'm going to lop all this stuff off, and just to make it simple. But first of all, you want to obviously put the battery back on, make sure none of these are touching each other, and just double check that the black cable here is actually got continuity with earth. So I'm going to do that first and check that's negative. So I know this is all like real basic stuff, but I'm going to say it anyway. The red wire here is switched to 12 volts, so that's when you put your keys in ignition and turn it once, you'll actually get 12 volts on there, or nothing when the keys are out, or in the 0 position. And then the yellow is constant 12 volts, so we don't want that, otherwise the gauges will be on all the time. And the black is obviously the earth, so it's not connected. It won't bell out now because it seems to be on the same strap as the horn, and I think that's how it earths itself. So, but either way, it will work. I'm just going to lash it up quickly now, so it does work. And then I'm going to just quickly see what my lambda is saying. These are quite simple to wire up. The larger connector on the left here goes to the sensor itself, and the one on the right is, as I said before, one cable is just going to the earth, and the other is just going for switched 12 volts, which is this red one on my stereo connector. So now I've got the lambda rigged up, primed, goes through this whole thing of calibrating itself. Next trick, this is the heater resistor, goes straight in there like that, and then this plug here goes into the heater controls and see if it will work. Okay, fan resistor is on top, the heater resistor is on top, below is the actual motor power, and if I try it on here, it's working. For some reason it's only working 3 and 4. But yeah, it's working. There's nothing really wrong with my HT leads, but I bought some new ones anyway. These ones were kind of made up by a small company. They're doing a job, but the problem with them is, if I take this off, is this whole thing's loose. So you can see, I don't know, they're not that convincing. So I'm going to replace them with these. And these are the NGK ones, 8mm silicon ones. I'm just going to replace those. The nice thing about these HT leads is they're labelled as well. So it's 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then on the Dizzy as well, it's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you know they're in the right way. And so just plug obviously this in, is out of the way, check it's located, and then these are much better as well. So before I had a situation where it wasn't really the whole way home, or didn't really feel that happy, and then now you can see that the bit goes all the way on and it's much more secure, so that should be a bit better. Plus blue looks better in here than red. And that's as good as reason as any, isn't it? All about the aesthetics. So just check that they're all in. Okay. These to one side. I'm about to have a spare set. Things are going much better with this car because I'm just going to give it another crank. It starts and runs now, which is much better. Try out the Sprint X FIA seat, so check it for size. It's quite nice. Fits me at least anyway. It's not too much on the shoulders as well when your hands are forward. How many do you want to go? Alright. Oh, I just got electric shock. Give me the bag. That's alright. Andy, what do you reckon?
It's nice, comfortable.
Let's have a look at the coat on it as well. It's quite nice. The motor drive stand, and this is the Motorprime Pro 5. This is the largest seat they do for the shoulders, and then you can change all the bolsters. So they put a bolster under here that's different and a bolster in the back to move my shoulders a bit further forward. And you can see now that that's a pretty good fit to that, and also Andy can go in there.
And I know we said
and Andy? How's that, mate?
It's fine, yes.
Yeah? We'll just have a look at the seat again. You can get whatever custom stitching you want. Here's the back. It's just a fiberglass one, I think. Composite. This is a little haul of stuff I got from the Autosport International Show 2018. Sticker, obviously, that's free. This is for the battery terminal. I'm going to just slice down here and put it on. The other flag type one, or whatever it is, it's kind of ripped, so hopefully this might be able to last a bit longer. I've got this brake winder tool. So I've actually, this is the third one of these I've bought, and the good thing about this type is it doesn't have that little knock through centre dowel, I guess you'd call it, which goes there. It's just kind of welded, so hopefully this thing might be a little bit more robust. Obviously you've got your right-handed and your left-handed type and all the different sizes, but hopefully all my other little adapters will fit into that as well. Then I've got this is for doing eyelets. This is all different eyelet sizes, and I've got the tool for doing them. So here you can either use a hammer, so you obviously put the wire in the back there for the eyelet you want to use. Make sure it's a square in here, and then basically it's got a little point there. You can just move it up and move it down, but you put it in there and then you punch it, and you can either hit it with a hammer or put it in a vise. I'll probably put it in a vise so I can control it a bit better, and then that will indent your eyelet, and obviously attach the copper wire to the eyelet, and then you can make all types of things like that. So I've never had one of these before, so that's interesting. Zip ties, you've got to buy zip ties at a car show just because they're cheaper. This is the little Bergen tiny spanner set, so just a couple of missing in here that I've needed recently, so yeah, I just bought this, so that's that. We've got the large breaker bar, so it's a ratchet as well, 510mm, so it's quite, it's quite a long thing, half meter, but yeah, it's just when you've got a bolt that's quite stiff, but it's coming off, but it's too tight on there for a normal ratchet. You need more leverage. So this way you don't have to keep on. If you use a breaker bar, do quarter turn, then turn the head of the socket round, then do another quarter turn. You can just ratchet away. So I wanted one of those for a while. And then finally, last but not least, it's this light, and this was 40 quid at the show. It's inspection lamp, and it's lithium-ion battery. So it's also got it's micro USB charging input and all. It's got magnetic base. And what I'll do is open the box up and just show you what that looks like. It's the unboxing then. Taking out the box, you've got the instructions. I don't think I'm going to need them, but maybe I will in terms of for charging the thing. This is the kind of upgraded model that's meant to be robust. The guy at the show was hitting it with a hammer. It was just about staying together. Anyway, it's got a magnetic base. Obviously, turn the thing on. So that's out the top. And then turn it on. Click it again. That's out here. So I can obviously put it there, and I can angle this this back bit, whatever, like that, and leave it like that. It's a very strong magnet on there. So we'll have to see if it's any good. It's got a charge indicator there, so you know if it's going low. But for me, particularly a lot of the YouTube stuff I do, this might be really useful because I then won't have to use my phone and get all that whole buzzy beep, 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 kind of stuff on the video, which you obviously can't hear when you're doing the video, you only notice it afterwards. So yeah, I'll be using this a lot and be able to tell you if it's any good. So it's just so you get the model number, it's a Draper slimline inspection lamp 65410, and yeah, it cost me 40 quid at the show. 450 lumens apparently on the high setting, 230 on the low. 4.5 hours is meant to be able to run for, but as for all those claims, we'll see how it actually stands up to the test of time. Hello, hi. Here's Andy. You probably don't recognise him because he's been so lacklustre in actually turning up and helping me with the Honda Civic. Either way, we've got a t-shirt giveaway. There's only 2 t-shirts like this. I should model it, really.
Yeah, go on then.
See this? And with that on the back. But anyway, there's only 2 t-shirts in the world like this at the moment. And we're wearing them. But there's going to be a 3rd t-shirt, and it's up to you if you'd like to have it. There's going to be, the competition is going to be, tell us the best fact you have about Honda Civics, and whoever gains the most likes by the end date, which I'll put up on the bottom of the screen now, down here. Yeah. I'll basically put the end date on there, and then whoever gets the most likes by that end date, with your best fact about Honda Civics, can be of any generation, just some kind of obscure fact that's kind of interesting, and then everyone else finds it more interesting, and then we'll see who wins. Andy, are you actually going to say anything, or what?
I'm just focusing on holding the camera.
Yeah, holding that camera still. Nice job, mate.
Yeah, it's quite steady actually.
Quite steady. But yeah, this one is I don't know, this is probably like an XL or something, and this is let's have a look. Let's have a look at his size. Andy's is a large. Is this an XL?
XL.
Yeah, so that's the fit. Depends on how, you know, the size of you, but you tell us your size. We'll contact you with the winner with an email address, and yeah, then we'll, you know, ask you your size and your address, and then we'll send it out to you free of charge. So we might do this again in the future, but as for now, there's only 2 t-shirts, and you'll have the 3rd ever t-shirt if you actually want it. There you go. Going to be worth millions one day. So that's it. Good luck in the competition.
Yeah, good luck.
And yeah, you know, like the best comments, even if you're in the competition, like someone else's obscure comment as well, and see if see who gets it. You know, I don't think we should like any of the comments because that wouldn't be fair. But yeah, you know, I will like the comments even if I don't thumbs up it or whatever. So there we have it. Good luck, guys.
Yeah, good luck.
And thanks for watching.
Cheers.